Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 14th edition of the School Improvement Services Podcast. My name is Gretchen Bruner, and I'm the Executive Director of School Improvement Services. And with me again is Sean Aker, our Student Success Coordinator, who has recently aired out his lederhosen because Mount Angel is preparing for Oktoberfest that's happening this weekend. Today, we're excited to also have our school safety and prevention specialist, Nathan Shea, join us for a later conversation. And we would like to do a shout out to Courtney Ferrua, who is the Director of Teaching and Learning in the Bentonville School District, because as we're recording, today is the 12th of September and it's her birthday. So happy birthday, Courtney. Sean, do you want to share some updates with us?
Yeah, and Gretchen, I want to say thank you. I appreciate the nod to the lederhosen that are currently being aired out. Actually, they're pretty clean there, but I do put them on occasion this time of year because of O-Fest. And folks, if you have not been to O-Fest in a while, or if this is your first time, you want to make it over to Mount Angel this weekend, Thursday through Sunday, be sure to stop by the Doughboy booth, which is on Garfield, because Mount Angel School District has their fried bread rolls, jelly-filled fried bread rolls, and they're delicious, and it supports their school district. And Silver Falls School District has a couple of booths. One that I'm very familiar with is the Butte Creek booth. They sell apple cakes, and that's on the far end of Garfield. It's another fun, and they stay open late, and they always sell out, so get there early.
Sounds wonderful.
Both are wonderful treats, but yeah. Anyway, back to the professional development. So we sent the monthly campaign out last week. We think we did a pretty good job. It was pretty comprehensive. And we had a spotlight event that I'm going to talk about a little bit here. So on September 18th, we're holding our first integrated planning event called Community Engagement, Culture, and Climate Data Workshop. Our partner, Jimmy Simpson from Youth Truth, will be there. And he's going to work with our districts to review regional and state culture and climate data. We invite all of our participants, he's going to invite all the participants to practice protocols they can take back to their districts. So our perspective, our team's perspective, is knowing the culture and climate will help focus on the sense of belonging students are feeling in schools. And it's going to help us take action to make data-driven improvements. And so there's a robust set of data that Youth Truth has collected around our region, and we also know that there's a lot of good work going on across our region in our districts in terms of culture and climate data. So during this workshop, we're going to be seeking input so that we can identify ways we can support our district educators to strengthen their efforts to make community engagement authentic, consistent, and ongoing. That's kind of the through line with the integrated funding. The student investment account, high school success, and the rest. The number one progress marker that the state is asking our districts to look at is community engagement. And that progress marker reads, community engagement is authentic, consistent, and ongoing. The strengths that educators, students, families, focal groups, and tribal communities bring to the educational experience informs school and district practices and planning. And that's where we aim to help. And so that's what we want to identify as part of the workshop. It's really how can we help districts achieve that? What do they need? So for our audience members who will be completing the quarterly integrated plan report, the state is asking districts to do their best to include updates on the progress markers. And so we know that it's going to be an iterative process.
Okay, for our audience members, they're completing those projects. Is this for districts that only use Youth Truth?
No, it's actually for any of our districts because we know that they all have culture and climate data. The robust data set that Youth Truth provides to our region is awesome, but the protocols that are happening are good for any district collecting culture and climate data so that they can report back to their communities and make some decisions.
Okay, all right. And just district teams or?
Actually, folks from the buildings are more than welcome to come. We know that ongoing community engagement is really everybody's role, and so understanding what some of the best practices are and then understanding how to use the information they're collecting, that's the objective here.
Excellent. Yeah. Excellent.
Okay, so just a few other professional development opportunities coming up. I've listed them all in the court notes. We've got things around instruction, specifically around science. We've got some school safety events coming up and some mental health and behavior, question, persuade, and refer. We've got an outline of events for our statewide in-service, including school safety, which Nathan might talk about in a little bit, level ones, which includes level 1 safety assessment behavior training. We've got a full day workshop on literacy and the science of reading, where we've actually contracted with Solution Tree, and they're sending Melissa Dixon over our way to support that. And then we're going to be taking folks through Oregon social emotional learning standards and framework on that day as well. So 3 full day options. And I know, Gretchen, you mentioned
we'll
earlier.
We'll have some hour and a half long online segments that'll be open both internally in our agency and also for all of our districts. And so we'll have a listing of those out soon.
Yeah. So the last one I want to mention, and I realize that I bring this up probably every podcast. I've been listening to the Modern Classrooms podcast the last couple of months, and it's really interesting. And the most recent one, which I linked into the court notes, is a big discussion about progress versus grades. And so, are we really tracking student learning? Are we giving students agency over their learning, versus are we just accumulating points to get the grade? And how are we doing it well? And it's just a really great. It's a really great listen if folks want to hear it. A lot of our districts, I know, are focusing on standards-based grading. This takes it to the next level when you really talk about student mastery of the content and differentiated learning. So we've got our the next cohort for Modern Classrooms begins October 16th. Folks can register through October 10th, and educators will receive a $500 stipend for completing the full cohort. Not just the free online modules, but the full cohort. So register, and the link to register is also in the court notes.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, Gretchen. What do you have for ODE?
I have quite a few, and I will go through them quickly because everything is linked in our notes. Oregon Math Educator Update. There is a Join Math Conference October 14th through the 16th. We also have a new website. They have a new website, Inside Mathematics, Social Emotional Learning and Mathematics. And then finally, in that update, there is the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. So if you have some educators you want to make sure that you are nominating for that. The nomination deadline isn't until January, but we wanted to bring it up and make sure it was out there. In assessment and accountability, don't forget to have everybody trained and ready for your centralized reporting and for your district testing coordinator. Deadlines are approaching for cleanup in your data. There is a September 15th deadline for at-a-glance narrative data, September 14th for first period cumulative ADM, and then the last day to make changes to your accountability reporting is Friday, September 15th. So lots of accountability coming up. Next, there is an opportunity to be a part of a committee for the Oregon Health Education Instructional Materials. So there's some information linked there that you can check that out if you or those that you know want to be a part of that. I've put in the weekly federal program hours, so if you need access to those, I can help you out. Language Arts Educator Update. There's information on the Early Literacy Success Initiative. There's a universal screening for risk factors of dyslexia and dyslexia-related training that's available, and then research and resources for classrooms, among other things. It is a really robust update that they've put out, but I wanted to call out those pieces. OD is also having a no-cost to district early indicator and intervention systems training coming up. I couldn't find the date in that particular email, but in that link, I think you can dive down a few layers, and there's some more information on that. The next one is our Aligning for Student Success. There are new community engagement learning modules that are available. There's a template slide deck to support longitudinal growth targets.
And that will be part of our discussion on the 18th.
Perfect.
We'll be considering those modules and how can we do these together.
Great. So there's a little bit of a preview, and then there's also a preview of their fall visits. Another interesting email that came through from ODE is their guidance on artificial intelligence in schools. And so there's some key points around just kind of using it as a tool in school. And then there's also some federal guidance and some office hours as well within that. And so as you're wrestling with some of those things, trying to figure that out, it's some good resources for you. And then finally, just a reminder, your SIP budget narrative is due November 1st. Prerequisites are due October 1st. And you need to do some spending down by September 30th. And so those are in there again as a reminder. And that's all I have. So is a
was
lot of
quick.
links for you. I know it's a lot of links to go back in, but I wanted to draw your attention to those because there's a lot of important information coming out of ODE right now. And so with that, now we get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
And so we have Nathan Shea, who is our school safety and prevention specialist with us today. And Sean, do you want to start out with some of the questions we have for him?
I do, actually, and I'm going to ask one that's not on the sheet.
Sure.
I was thinking about it earlier, and I think it'd be good. I was just curious, you came here a couple of years back, and you've had a career before this, and I was curious, what led you into this work or what got you into this field?
Yeah, sure. And thanks both for having me on. I appreciate the shout out and the shout out to work. So my background is primarily in social work. So I always bring that lens to wherever I come from. Before this job at Willamette ESD, I was a school counselor advisor at a small charter school. So working in education as a social worker. And this job really just the idea of working in systems and helping schools improve their systems and build on what they already have was just, it was just kind of a glowing thing to come into this job. And every day there's something a little bit different to work on it. So.
Yeah, and you took a chance in the beginning because it's grant funded and all those pieces, and it's been really good.
Yep.
You just got the watch from Katie.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we can go back and forth on the questions.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Can you tell us about some of the services that you and the team offer?
Absolutely. So my position, school safety and prevention, it's a pretty broad area. A really unique thing about Willamette ESD is we have a pretty robust school safety team. A lot of the other ESDs don't have that option. They usually have a department of one. So I'm one of many on a team. My services are primarily within suicide prevention, also the crisis response team coordinator for the region, so crisis response. And then the last one is school culture and climate. So that includes bullying prevention and bias incident response. Pretty broad area. We provide a lot of technical assistance that can mean anywhere from helping schools with their prevention plans and policies, working through what procedures they already have into place. Also help with day-to-day support as school counselors and administrators are going through things and school safety comes up. We can be there as a point person to provide our insight and possibly come in and consult. And then, as Sean mentioned earlier, we offer a wide range of trainings across not just this next month, but for the rest of the school year too.
All year long.
All year long. Workshop and a summit as well.
And I think I've seen you've got most of those lined out already, right?
Yep.
If people went to the school safety prevention website?
Yes, on their school safety prevention website. It should be updated for the next couple months, and we're going to add them as they go through. We're scheduled out actually through May, and those will kind of populate, and school districts are also very welcome to request any type of school safety training for their building or just for their admin team, whatever they want.
We'll make sure that site gets into the court notes as well.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I guess, in your professional opinion, you've been working in our region for a few years now. This is year 3, right?
Yeah, about year 3.
It's crazy.
I know, time flies.
Yeah. What, in your opinion, we're starting the year, what should districts really be thinking about in terms of school safety and prevention?
It's a good question. It's a big question too. I know school safety has been on a lot of folks' minds, especially with the increase of school shootings and other coming out of COVID. A lot of mental health issues, calls to crisis lines, etc. That word prevention. If folks can look in their word to their districts to see what are they doing, looking upstream in their programs. So when you're thinking about an entire district, is there a program that's used in sync across from K all the way through 12? I've worked with a lot of districts that a couple school buildings are pretty robust in what they're doing, and a couple other school buildings are using something different. So if schools can be aligned in their prevention services, and also to highlight what they're already using in their districts. So a lot of folks don't see social emotional learning as part of school safety, but it's actually very upstream prevention. Yeah. And once folks realize that, they can make the connection of the dots between, it's like we're already doing school safety. This is just another step that we need to take towards that.
I remember that graphic you shared, I think year 1, where it was a river, and downriver there's the events that happen. And then upriver from that, all the things that schools have in place to prevent those things from happening.
Yep. Exactly. It's a really good visual that I like to use. Like Sean says, is of a river, and then the point of a waterfall is an event that happens. So if we're talking about suicide, it's a death of suicide. So what are we doing upstream to prevent that? There's stuff that can be done right before the waterfall to pull them up. But what are we doing to get things from falling into the river in the first place? So you're thinking about way upstream at the water source, et cetera. And then afterwards, below the waterfall, what are we doing to help heal and look forward again to prevention? So that's where that postvention becomes prevention.
Yeah, powerful.
So as we're entering year 3, what is something that you're really excited about?
Lots of things this year. I'll just highlight a couple of them. The first one, as you mentioned, the number of trainings. A couple to highlight, which Sean mentioned, we have a workshop upcoming on October 13th. It is the In-Service Day. It's going to be held at our Willamette Career Academy, and most of our school safety team will be present for that. The majority of the workshop will cover behavioral safety assessments, which was formerly threat and CIRC, and we're going to add a section for bias incident response. And then at the end, we're going to do a tabletop where we discuss how all these different systems interconnect and how folks can utilize the school safety team, and then how folks can utilize the supports in their districts. The second one is our School Safety Summit. We haven't quite got a save the date yet, but I believe it's on February 13th, and it's going to be a full day event. We had one this past school year. We had between 6 to about 8 guest speakers that came in for there, as well as our school safety team, and it was a full day of breakout sessions. So we're going to do that again for the second time. Second thing I'm really excited about is in my field of work is suicide prevention plans. Our districts have posted their suicide prevention plans on their district websites, and that was a big task for a lot of school districts. So well done to all those that put in that time and work to get that done. My hope and excitement for this next year is what can we do as an agency to support districts as they implement their plans?
Nice.
Is there areas that we could help and improve on, or areas that we can work together on to kind of work into those plans a little bit to areas that folks are a little unsure of?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
Awesome.
You are the person and the rest of the team that can help them do that. I mean, the praise, you get, I've seen a lot of the summaries you put after incidents where you've gone and helped, and I mean, like you're locked in, you really understand the context, you take each incident one at a time, and you're always thinking ahead, just like you say, there was an event, and now we're thinking back upstream.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
and it's not just me too. It's the team that really brings that encompasses all the work that comes together. So bringing many different insights in for something that does happen, or any type of response that we deal with. That's what that makes that powerful enrichment that we can move forward from.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, if you need to get a hold of Nathan, his email is listed in our notes here, and he's just done a tremendous job. Yeah. Really happy to have the school safety team back in our department too. They're back in school improvement services this year, and we're excited about that. And if you're looking for some information on the website, we'll link it in there, but you'll always also find it under school-wide safety and mental health. So that's our new segment in our website, and so there'll be lots of information there for you, and resources.
Great. Thanks again, Nathan.
All right. Yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you
for coming
both.
with us today.
Yeah.
And muddling through any technical difficulties that we have. So
Remy's gonna just get through any errors that happen. So
Remy
thanks,
edits
Remy.
for us, and so he's just amazing. But we really appreciate it. And as always, if there's anything you need, don't hesitate to reach out to anybody in our department. We'll get you to the right place. If we don't have it, we can help you find it to make sure that you have the resources you need to have an outstanding school year. So with that, we will talk to you again in a couple weeks. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Gretchen.
Bye.